Check 1 2.
No, I'm here again. I had my mic muted.
All right, we're live. Just gonna get things a couple set up here. Get a little ready, and let's go. In a sec here. All right. Hey. What's happening? Check 1 2. Microphone check.
Check. I'm here. All right, let me just pull in closer. There we go. That'll be better. So.
Hey. All right, folks. Let's get into it. If you're watching this live, let's get going. Have fun. Let's talk about the charts. If you're not watching this live, put it in like 1.5x and save yourself some time. Most valuable asset you have, folks. With that being said, let's get going. Okay, what's going on here? Where is the friggin' mouse? There we are. Oh boy. Hey, folks, welcome back to Surely Sound Studio. My name is Martin. You can call me Marty. Is the music too loud? Yes, it is. Let's turn the music down a bit. And let's get into it. Today we got a good show for you, folks. We got AK with us today. What's up, brother?
No, nothing much. Still getting through the days here. Looking like we might get some rain. Okay, got the adventurer hat on today because we've been on an adventure with fucking Bitcoin here.
Nice. Yeah, we had a good thunderstorm last night. It was pretty gnarly. The gods are pissed off at the financial people, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, what are you guys doing? So they're out there starting fires. Sweet. Thank you very much. But yeah, today, folks, welcome into the show. Welcome to Surely Sound Studio. Wish you well, wish you wealth. Today, we're going to talk about, Bitcoin pumped big last week, just kind of actually is what we were saying. So we're going to go look at the stream from yesterday or from last week, talk about that shortly. And then, of course, we're going to get into a little bit of the United States issue with other countries, Canada-US trade wars now official. I mean, I think that's been going on for a while, but they're talking about it again. And then we're going to, this all leads to the Clarity Act and digital banking and all. You have to remember, folks, that all the smoke and mirrors is all what you're seeing when they're shifting the financial system behind closed doors. Sort of, not really behind closed doors. It's happening out front, but they just, because of course there is law that says they have to let us know what's going on, but instead of just letting us know what's going on in the headlines, they put other stupid things in the headlines, and then they talk about the real things that are going to have effect on your life in the fine print. So we're going to talk about some of that stuff. We're going to go over that, and ultimately
it's also the way they tell it to you as well.
Yes,
right? They do tell it to you, but they tell it to you in a way to
Manipulation 101. So yeah, we're going to go over that. And of course, how is it going to affect the Bitcoin price? Because Bitcoin, we know, is the leading indicator, the I don't even know, man. It's like the one and only, really only thing you need to pay attention to if you want to understand what's happening in finance right now. Just learn Bitcoin, study Bitcoin, and it'll tell you everything you need to know. So, folks, let's get into it. Let's get into the chats here. Let's start off with, where is it? Bitcoin. Okay, let's actually, you know what? Let's zoom out. This is the 1 hour chart. Let's zoom out. This is the weekly chart. So this,
yeah, here we go. This is the one I've been paying attention to. Weekly
chart here, folks. So momentum's coming up. Relative strength is coming up. Let's get some volume on here, and let's get some EMAs on here. And so, yeah, obviously big inefficiency here. The next large resistance is going to be up at 86K. So if we don't get rejected here, so just to be sort of, looking at the trend here. So we've got down, up, down, lower, low, high, lower, high, low, lower, low. So far we've got a lower high. And if we look at our fancy Fibonacci retracement tool and we take it from the top of this one, try and get as close as we can, to the bottom of this one, we are still just getting stuck right under that 786. And so if we zoom in, we'll go over to here, and that blue line right there is that 786. So we deviated above the 786 twice, but both times hammered right back down, stuck under, above, hammered right back down, stuck under, currently stuck under, even after a little bounce off the value area high, which is technically bullish. And it still just comes right back up to the fib retracement level here. Now I've got two fibs on here, it looks like, because this is the same. Let's just delete that one, because is this the same chart? I don't know. I got too many charts. Apparently it is. There, another one's gone now. But yeah, this is kind of right where we want to see the rejection. If the bear market is going to continue, if the trend is going to continue down, this is the most probable spot to have our rejection. So if you're looking for trades, this is where you sell with a stop loss at about just above 80K. Not financial advice, but 80K is our VWAP from the all-time high, I do believe. So could come up there. If we look at the heat map, not really too much reason for them to come up here, but we have to notice that under the previous low here, we've got hundreds of millions on this exchange and billions across all exchanges to be liquidated, and even just more liquidity piling up in the longs as this pump. So what we're seeing here is a lot of people buying the pump, seeing these big green candles and buying the pump, which is not what we want to see. We want to see people in disbelief selling the pump to kind of get our indications that the bull market is beginning, because the bull market begins when you think it's over, and the bear market begins when you think the bull market's just beginning, most of the time on the online people and the influencers and the things that they say. For instance,
and I mean, sentiment's changed towards it, right? Like every time Bitcoin's price pumps now, you're going to see a lot more FOMO. You're going to just see people buying, because everybody for some reason thinks that it's going to turn them into a billionaire in a month. Like this is just a long-term game that you're playing, right? It's not this I'm rich overnight. So I think a lot of people just they're into fear now, right? It's Bitcoin's pumping again. It's going to it's going to 140 next.
Well, it's like some of the
things where people are like, oh, $1 million Bitcoin's a lot sooner than you think.
Some of the posts I saw are like 500,000 by the end of the year. It's like, you guys, no. But it's just like we were talking about before. That's what gets engagement. So it's like, well, they don't really care whether they're right or wrong, right?
And then everybody's going to go out and they're going to buy because they're listening to the most moronic people on earth. And
and they
I mean, you know what? They're not moronic. They're brilliant because they know what they're doing.
And I mean, let's we go back to last week's episode here and just have a quick look here. We're talking about the stock market and it potentially being topped out. And, just a quick look at the S&P since then. This was the day, Thursday, Friday. So yeah, right in here because markets closed for the weekend. So literally so far called the top of the stock market. Of course, it's only going to be a local top, and that was the thumbnail or whatever, because the stock market will continue to go up as the dollar loses value. But so far, this is looking like, of course, people are losing faith in AI. AI is now costing more money than people were expecting. So a lot of people were expecting them to be able to get into AI, save them money, and increase productivity. And now we're realizing that a lot of people spent a lot of money and productivity has not increased. In fact, it's gotten more expensive because now the AI
maintenance costs
is right. So has more maintenance. So the infrastructure is being built, and don't get me wrong, folks, 10 years from now, it's going to be fully integrated into everything. But speculation on new technology is happening just the same as it's happened in the past. .com bubble, railway infrastructure, global trade. Everything happens in the same cycle over and over and over again. And all we're seeing right now is the exact same thing, but for AI. So people come in hardcore on AI, put all their money, take all their money out of everything they can and put it into AI stocks. And a lot of people made a lot of money. But now those people are realizing that, okay, it's shifting. And like we were saying last week, like you just don't want to be the last guy. And like, is this the top for the stock market? It's going to be a local top for sure. Like there's already massive hedge fund net short positions on the NASDAQ, on the S&P, on traditional stock market. So they know what's going on. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars in net shorts, which can push the price up in liquidation because it's providing liquidity. But usually those are the people that are pushing the price around. They're the market makers. So when the market makers are going net short, they're not going to want to try and take out their own positions. They're looking to try and take out your positions. So now that everybody's, for whatever reason, flooding into AI stocks just now thinking that they're time to buy. We talked about this last week. They're not a time to buy. You don't want to buy the top. You want to buy the bottom. And then if you go into exactly what we were talking about a little bit further here.
And here's the other thing. Again, this is kind of the trap, right? This is our bear markets. I mean, honestly, like you say, history. This is just history repeating itself over and over and over. And no matter how many times you say it, it's just it's the same thing, but
human psychology.
A different face.
Human psychology.
Our bear market is not over. It's not going to be over probably until October, November.
Yeah. And right? for many reasons. One, liquidity isn't here. We don't have, well, they certainly don't have retail liquidity. The only thing that's going to be propping up, and don't get me wrong, the next bull market is going to be one for the ages because of institutional investors. But what created bull markets in the past is every small retailer putting in $20 a day or whatever, right? Like we have more money because there's more of us, even though they have more money in us as individuals. We have more money as a collective, so we have the power to move the markets better than they do. But the thing is that we're always all confused and always fighting against each other, and nobody can agree on anything, so we can't justify bull or bear one way or another. And then we just end up 90% of people end up just chasing hype, selling fear, and just doing everything completely backwards.
That's because they're all working together up at that top, right? They know what they're doing. They're talking to each other, right? We're not all communicating with each other because at the end of the day, we hold most of the cash flow. They hold all the net worth. They hold all the debt, which is brilliant because that's money. That's wealth. Right? If you have cash, you will never be wealthy. That's Well, wealth is ingrained in debt almost, right?
Well, of course, you take debt, you borrow money and invest it in things that are going to make you more money. And so the more money you make, the more asset value you have, the more debt you can take. And in fact, the richest people in the world just hold the most debt. And the same thing goes for countries, right? The richest country in the world is in the most in debt, United States of America. And that's how it really works. And people that are, like you said, trying to save cash, like you're never going to get anywhere, especially with the rate of money printing nowadays. They're just devaluing the cash every single day. And so
there's no way for us all to work together to change the markets like that. What everybody just needs to do is just continually buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Just don't sell it. Just continually buy.
Yeah. If everybody did, then and everybody went long, then everybody would be rich. But for whatever reason, people can't wrap their head around it. And they keep chasing
a huge global shift.
They keep chasing fiat currencies that have never, ever, ever in the past ever succeeded. And you have to understand this. Fiat currencies, there's been many of them. Talking thousands of years, we've had fiat currencies of some kind, one kind or another, and not one of them has succeeded. Well,
I mean, just
not
look
one.
At our own within the last 150 years. You have people that are coin collectors. Well, how many different coins were there?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 150 years. How many different currency? Like, I know it's been technically the same currency, but it's shifted how it's been looked upon. They used to make it out of real metal that was actually valued at that price.
Absolutely, yeah. Then that's before it was a fiat currency, because it's not a fiat currency until it's backed by nothing. And now
I guess so.
Everything has become fiat currency since 1971. Right. So that was the beginning. If anybody, I mean, obviously I wasn't alive then, and I didn't even know anything about this until I was in my 30s. But it's like,
I know, same here.
Right. So it's like there was obviously people that did know. And that's why you have ridiculously rich people, ridiculously rich families, because they knew exactly what they were doing. Oh, off the gold standard. That's perfect. That means they're going to print money to infinity, buy as much as we can, as many assets as we can right now, and borrow as much money as we can, because every printed dollar devalues my debt.
Look at the properties, right? I mean, where we live, we have a guy here who actually he used to own the Save On gas, and Shell bought him out back in the 70s for $80 million. And he's got that massive farm there behind the hospital. That's all his land. You know what he paid for that back in the 70s? All of that? Next to nothing. Like,
well, nothing. Probably, it's a bunch of blackberries.
He knew what was going on, right? He was smart, and he goes, best thing you can do that's happening to their generation was property.
Yeah.
That's their money.
Especially in developing areas.
Yeah.
But let's look at the similarities here. And so what we were talking about last week, bang on, folks. I don't know how many of these shows you've watched, but it's getting a little bit ridiculous here. Time and time again, we're talking about things on Sunday, and it plays out perfectly during the week. I don't want to try and be like, hey, I know what I'm talking about, so follow me, because I'm going to be right every time. But I mean, the numbers are there. The reason that we talk about this and I do it live is to hold myself accountable for the things that I say. And week after week after week after week, we talk about something happening, and it does. Now, am I manifesting the reality for all of us? I don't know. I mean, I'm manifesting the reality for myself, and I'm taking notes, and I'm keeping track. I'm documenting all on charts, and I'm watching it happen in real time. You explain it. I can't explain it. I'm just translating what I see, and it keeps happening. I don't know. I could probably go back into our conversations on Telegram and just search, search just like we said, and we probably come up with 50 messages that have that in it. 50 plus messages every single week. There's like, oh, just like we said, this happened, just like we said. Like, it's insane. It's a little insane, but just for, let's have a quick listen to here.
Yeah. And don't get us wrong. We both make mistakes. I've gotten hit a few times here in this uptrend, thinking the market was going to come right back down, but it is what it is. And
I've lost thousands of dollars in a single trade. Happens.
No, it's like it is what it is. So I kept, every $1,000 we kept going up. I'm like, no, we're not doing this. I was actually watching the chart as we basically cleared 70K in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it was just gone. It was like we didn't even stay.
And I messaged you that morning too. I was like, looks like we're breaking out here. I didn't get a long in. I should have just longed right there, but then I was busy and away from the chart, so I didn't even see it. But what was it, like 6?
It's nuts when you watch that. I mean, that's where it's like, I wish I had 100x. You know what I had in? I had a short.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, short resistance, but once it breaks, you got to be out of there, because once structure breaks, you got to get out.
Yeah, no, you set your stop loss in, right? But
that's exactly why we saw that push, is because people were shorting at resistance because we're in a bear market. but then we broke resistance. So everyone's closing their short, which creates market buys. And like we were saying last week, you don't want to be the last guy. You don't want to be the last guy, right? Take the loss and carry on, right? But a lot of people are like, oh, maybe it'll come back. Maybe it'll come back. And it just keeps going and going and going. And the last guy, the last group of people end up getting liquidated instead of stopping out their position for whatever, 5-10% loss, whatever they're, willing to lose. That's why we try and say stick to your plan, and you have to be disciplined. Discipline pays. And discipline is taking a small loss over a big loss. And it's hard to do because especially when you're in a range for a long time, and it always just comes back, because like I shorted 64K probably 10 times in our side, you know what I mean? And and a couple times it went up to 65, but I'm like, we're still kind of holding on to the range here. And every single time it came back, and I was like, oh yeah, there you go, bang, payday, bang, payday, bang, payday. And even though I spent like 2 or 3 days in the red, sometimes it came back every single time. So that's how it gets you. You're like, oh, it's just going to come back again, right? But then when we actually do break that range, you got to be getting out there, or yeah, you get burned for sure.
Well, sometimes it sucks also when it hits your stop loss and just bounces right back up from it, and you're like, oh man, like
well, that happens by design too, because of course all your orders are on the books. So and the thing is too is that you're always putting your stop loss above the last high or whatever. Like you're putting it in a psychological popular spot, so you're not the only one with a stop loss there too. And so when you look at the books, they can see all the liquidity sitting there, and then they go and take it. Now let's have a quick little listen to this here. Let's see, is the volume up? Research, right? But Bitcoin, you have to remember, is the most liquid asset that we have. And so it's going to be your leading indicator, because you can buy and sell Bitcoin at any time, at any amount, any day of the week, any day of the year. Okay, if we go back here, for a new investor, you do not want to be buying the hype. You do not want to be buying euphoria. You do not want to be buying when other people that have been in for years are like, oh my goodness, I'm sitting on max profit. I'm sitting on max profit right now, bro. Max profit. That's not when you buy. You want to be buying low and selling high. So if you're not in right now, you want to be looking at something that's, well, probably down overall on the scheme of things. Right. Now, so not financial advice, but $63,000. I said you probably want to buy Bitcoin. And then now look at today's chart. Go back to the weekly, and there you go. So you're up 20% if you're subscribed to the Surely Sound Studio web YouTube channel, folks. You got a good one there. You got a good one for free, believe it or not. But I had to point that out, because it's like, man, like you've talked about before, yearly salaries. Some of these calls that we have made time and time again could provide you with yearly salaries in a matter of days if you understand how to work it. And it does. It definitely does. There's plenty of people out there that are doing it. And
like if I, see, this is where it's like, it doesn't take a lot of money to make, money. Like once you understand that money is liquid, and lose a couple trades on purpose, see what it feels like to lose, and then go and make your money back and be like, oh, what the hell? That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like you'll start seeing it differently. So if you had $1,000 in this trade at 11x, and you left it open for the week minus the fees and all the other crap, this is well over doubling your money, right? Like,
don't try and make a yearly salary right away. Try and make a daily salary, or just try and make a couple bucks and just turn, like, if you're learning, if you're just beginning, you have to start out slow, just like anything. You don't start playing baseball and then just go play in the major leagues. Like you start at the bottom and you work your way up, just like anything else.
I look at it like a trade, right? Like this is your first year carpentry. You're not going out and you're playing with journeyman carpenters thinking you know how all the tricks in the trade and everything.
That's just
right?
it. You're not going to be able to make a doctor's salary without putting in the time. Okay, the doctor makes a salary because he's put in the time, and like that's a different thing. I don't know, it's not a very good example, because who knows about that. That's kind of a bit of a rigged situation, but
let's just
you got to put in the time.
$100. Every you know what? At this day and age, everyone should be able to afford $100 in the market, right? I'm saying I wish I had 1,000 doing that, right? That'd be wonderful, but we're not. I'm not trading there yet. It's my first year. Well, not first year, but still learning. So
but we have
I'm not willing to risk.
Just what another similarity from last bear market that I really want to point out here is we talked about this inefficiency here. And next major resistance being up at like 86, 87K. But before that, we do have a high volume node here, which was support before, was order block here. And then we kind of faked it out here. And a lot of people called this order block short here. And then that trend as well. And then we deviated above it. And like, if you were watching this channel, you can go back and check it. You go back and check April, mid-April 2026. There's a couple videos in there, probably in these weeks here, where I say, watch us break the structure, get everybody bullish, and then dunk on their heads. And that's exactly what happened, because I could just tell by sentiment, right? People are just like, oh, the bull market didn't go as high as we thought, so the bear market's going to be shorter. Bear market's like, man, how you got to really understand that the people that are in charge of this type of stuff, human psychology allows you to understand that it's a simulation in the fact that humans' psychology, fear, greed, all this stuff repeats over and over and over again. So it doesn't matter who the people are, because you are prone to having emotion, and emotional decisions continue to provide the same product. So if you can switch your brain and go from the right side, subjective, and go to the left side, so to speak, objective, and you understand and see these things happening time and time again, you can just look at the charts and say, well, most probable, right? You don't have to be, this is going to happen, or this is going to happen, or this isn't going to happen. It's what's most probable when it comes to trading. Okay. If you're wrong, you close. If you're wrong, you take the loss. You take a small loss. But when you're right, you let the winners run. And most probable is the best thing you can do, because nobody is 100%, unless you're a politician, of course. But nobody gets 100%, but all we're looking for is most probable. And at that time, most probable was that we will fake out and come back down. So now I want to look at this chart, and we're going to go back to the last bear market here, actually just before FTX collapsed, just months before FTX collapsed. I just want to point out some similarities here. So we came down, we came up, and this is kind of like that 86K break of structure, 200 MA, and then boom, and then we come back down. Looks to me like we're somewhere right in here, where we have a massive green week. And of course, all you got to do is kind of zoom in, and if you want to make it look more to scale. Oh, because when it comes to the charts, you can always just move things around. What are you doing? Come on, buddy, move over here. Oh my goodness, it's frozen. This is not helping. Come on, charts. Here, so like nice big green candle after coming down for a few weeks. And then you'll notice the next thing that happens is an engulfing bearish candle. So watch out for this exact pattern to play out again, simply because we have bullish divergence on the RSI. We have bullish divergence on the momentum wave. We ended up pumping, faking everybody out, and then dumping it on them the next week, and then going sideways and having another couple months of price action where it was just sideways. And then we've been talking about October, right? So that would put us at, we're August right now, September, October. If we had another 5, 6, 7 weeks before starting to go up again, and then boom, the final bottom, FTX collapse into the holidays, and then you start seeing this area right here. Let's see if it'll work. If I switch to the daily here, will it stay right there? No. Maybe it will. Yeah, it will. It should be right there. This is where are you? Oh man. All right, well, it's gone. Bitcoin's gone, guys. It's gone. Went to zero. It's gone. Got too much shit running on my computer right now. I'm streaming. You're muted, by the way.
Oh, yeah, there we go. All that.
But anyways, I needed to make this comparison because let's go back to, is it this chart? I can't even look at my charts. None of my charts are loading all of a sudden. So sweet. That's helpful.
You're look at the price you're in.
Yeah, I know, but I was supposed to be in the.
Oh.
In last.
Oh, it's just not. March. It's really not loading, huh?
No, yeah, it did. Yeah, it just did skip to today's price action when I wanted it to stay back here, because it was very clear when this bear market was over, because we had engineered bullish price action. And so after we had, that was such,
it's kind of what this is too. This is
such
money.
This is such a nice short. I remember that short. That was a fun day. That was a fun couple days. We had a good Christmas after taking that short. Unfortunately, lots of people lost a lot of money, and I didn't. That was probably one of my better trades I ever made. But anyways,
actually, I think that's right when I was actually starting to finally buy my first Bitcoin. Was just down there.
Yeah,
I think it was like
good price.
March.
Good price. We expected 15.4 on your future hand. That's what we were talking about, and we came down to 15.6. Maybe even wick down to 15.4 exactly there, because that was just a Fibonacci retracement. That's all it was. Again, same thing that happens over and over again. All these tools and stuff like that are all based off psychology and math, and people have done their time, done their due diligence, and checking out what's happened in the past and just charted it and just documented it, and then you use that to predict the future. And it works out really well. But look at this price action starting January 1st.
That's where it started.
Starting January 1st. Right here.
There you go.
It was clear, and we're still talking. We're in holidays, right? We're still in holidays here. January 1st, Bitcoin just starts to creep and creep and creep, and then all of a sudden you just get this boom, 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 boom. This, no matter what people tell you, and if you go and try and find it, you won't be able to, because they didn't publish this. But if you ask me, this is when BlackRock started buying Bitcoin. And started buying and buying and buying and buying, and then they start to push liquidations. Okay, so that's what happened there. This is engineered price action. If you look at all the other price action, nothing looks like this. Never have I ever seen this. Look how engineered and perfect that is. Wham. And we have never seen that ever again. Never have I seen price action that looks like this. Because it was clearly engineered by some sort of strategic buying, where every time it got to the 1 hour MA or some kind, or I don't know exactly what they use to do this, but this is obviously, they're not allowing the price to go to a certain low. So every single time it gets to a thing, they're buying. Every single time it comes back, they're buying. Every time they're buying, and they continue to do that until they're now liquidating positions. And now they're liquidating positions, and this is engineered price action right here. That was clear sign, especially after everybody just thought they lost everything. A lot of people did lose everything in FTX and crypto.com and all these other exchanges that people were heavily invested in. They went bankrupt, insolvent, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. So what happens when a lot of people lose a lot of money? Well, there is an opportunity for big investors to go, oh, perfect, nobody wants to buy down here. And we even had one little rejection right here where who knows what happened. Maybe there was some people finally got some money back, and they're like, screw this, I'm out. So as soon as it pumped just a little bit, they're like, screw this, I'm out. And of course, it's also the holidays, and so people aren't really paying attention. But then you just have this perfect ramp up, engineered price action. And then, of course, back in the day, I haven't looked at it in probably about a year, but when we were sitting around 60,000 K and BlackRock said, we're buying Bitcoin now for our Bitcoin ETF, and they actually announced it publicly, you could look on chain at their wallet, and their average price was under $40,000. How can their average price be under $40,000 if they're saying that they're buying now and it's at 60,000? Well, that's because they didn't start buying then. They started buying here at 15,000, 16,000, and continued to DCA the whole time. And look here, potentially they stopped buying, and this was liquidations. And then when price came back down to 20K, and we slipped under 20K for a matter of days, hours, they got right back in, and that's a 200 MA perfect retest, and boom, off to the races. That is the bull market, folks. That is the confirmation of the bull market.
This is why they can offer special incentives and other things to customers coming and buying from them and and having them run it and do everything, because they've been buying since that price. They've already made all their money.
Absolutely.
And they're going to continue to make a ton more. So the little, 10% that they pay you, well, you could have been making a lot more too if you had just bought in Bitcoin rather than, one of their ETFs or anything through them.
And so, speaking of similar price action, what we were just looking at, the breakup, the breakdown, this is kind of where we're at right now. potentially going to see us just do the same thing, right? Where everyone thinks the bull run's on, dunked on. But look at this. Look at this in a range too, because this is range trading 101. You have your range high right here. You have your range low down here. This green at this, like that's yellow line somewhere in here, maybe even like right about there. You're going sideways, you're catching support, you lose that support, deviate below, and then you get back up, reclaim, and hold that support one more time. That's confirmation of a range re-enter, and then most likely going to break to the high, because it deviated below the low, and enough people were like, no, this is cheap enough for me, and we got accepted back into the range that we spent since from all the way from June. So that's about a year. Almost a year of price action there, where one deviation below the low and then being accepted back into. This is the kind of stuff that I trade on a 5-minute time frame, 15-minute time frame, hour time frame, looking for what we're looking for right now: a range here, clear highs, deviation above the range, and it's accepted back in, another deviation above the range, accepted back in, looking for a short potentially until we break out of this range, because we've gotten accepted back into this range. Also money flowing out, RSI getting lower. We're having another bearish divergence below the 200 moving on the RSI. So there's a lot of things pointing to what we're about to see is potentially this right here. And then there we go. This, and then all these days here where people are just like, oh, this is crazy, man. I'm not falling for that again. Maybe a little bit of a pump to get some people stoked. And then what happens? The great financial collapse, whatever they're going to call it, whatever we've been talking about it for years now. It's obviously happening at some point, and that's going to be the what they are going to use as the excuse for the transition from the old fiat currency to the digital currency, right? They're not just going to do it, because if you understood what was happening, you wouldn't allow it. What they need to do is create a problem so that they can provide the solution. So,
well, they also need to put a positive spin on it so people accept it, right?
Absolutely. Or
because you're gonna get probably a nice percentage of people who understand what's going on, and they're gonna fight it, but they're not gonna understand how to beat it, right? And that's kind of where, where you kind of come in. You explaining it pretty clearly. So
yeah. So
right.
let's just make a call and just see what happens, because I'm just gonna say we are here. As far as last cycle goes, everybody thinks that the relief rally is going to, because remember we haven't taken the high yet.
No.
Until we take 83, this is kind of looking exactly like where we're at. And so that's kind of what I'm sticking to. Currently, I'm looking for a short here until proven otherwise, because we're at the 786. We're getting rejected. We deviated above it and got stuck below it multiple times now. We still can't continue to get above it. We look at the liquidation map. There is a little bit of liquidity up here, but the majority of the liquidity is to the downside. And if you look at the fear and greed index and everything else that's going on, sentiment in general, it's like it's in greed. People are already greedy at 70. What are we at now? At 77K. People are already getting greedy. Like that's not bull market. That's not end of the bear market sentiment. End of the bear market is every pump is, oh no, I'm not falling for that again, right? And people fell for this one right away. So I don't know, man. It doesn't seem to me like we're there. I don't have enough things lining up for the probability to be in my favor to just say that the bull market is on right now. For me, not yet. I don't see enough things lining up. I think still a couple more slams, a couple more geopolitical events that are going to cause mass panic. That makes a lot more sense. This is a little bit too simple, and especially with the bull market for the ages on the horizon, because of Bitcoin being adopted globally at a rapid pace, they're gonna flush everybody out because they know, like, the plan is set. They already know what's happening. I already know what's happening. Everybody that pays attention already knows what's happening. It's just, how are we gonna get there? And I'm going to say that we're going to get there just like we did everything else. There's going to be a massive shakeout, which means prices go down, people panic, people sell at losses, people get discouraged, people quit, they get bored, they get all these things that psychologically remove you from the situation at the perfect time for them to swoop in and scoop it all up. And you're left going, damn it! I had it. I made a stupid mistake. It's like, it's okay. People make stupid mistakes, but don't let them happen over and over and over again. And that's why time in the market is more valuable than trying to time the market, because once you've spent enough time in the market, you can see how and when to time the market because you've been through it. And of course, document your stuff, write down your trades, do whatever you need to do to not forget what you've done, because one of the biggest things that hurts people these days is the memory of goldfish. They just continue to do the same thing over and over again because they forgot about what happened, because they didn't write it down, they didn't document it, they didn't do it properly. And trust me, like, you think you can just remember what happened? You probably won't. Start putting things on a chart. My charts are my diaries. And people, like, for instance, I had a client the other day that was asking me about a job that we did. And she was like, oh, wasn't that about a year ago? And I was like, actually, it was October 26th, 2025. They're like, whoa, what do you mean? I was like, well, that was the all-time high for Bitcoin. I knew I was telling you that day that this is probably the all-time high for Bitcoin. I remember us talking about it. They're like, how the fuck did you remember the day? I'm like, well, because I charted it. I wrote things down in my chart. I had it. I refer back to it on a regular basis, and I remember what I was doing that day because I am documenting everything I do on my charts. And so that's how I don't get burned. That's how I remember. That's how I continue to recall the information in the past to provide information for my future, for my predictions, for what I believe is going to happen based on past performance. And just looking at price action right now, we had a little dip last night and we did bounce off the value area high. So that's kind of bullish, but with the money flowing out, it kind of seems to me that every pump from here is going to be a lackluster pump into a continuation down. Is kind of what I'm seeing, folks. Kind of what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I got to get ready for that too. So I'll be.
We also have
throwing some in the short there for sure. I'm thinking the same thing here.
We also have USTD dominance, USDT dominance coming down to support, where we have found support here, and now here. And if we lose this, that's when we're going to be out of the trade. Next support is down here at 6.6% roughly, which could put Bitcoin up at around 80K. And so the way I would approach this is looking for a short here. And if we deviate above, going to pay attention to smaller time frames to see what is going to happen, but potentially we'll stop the trade for a small loss and look to re-enter after a deviation above 80K and then a reclaim back under it and get stuck under, because I don't like to I don't like to short into strength. I'll wait for it to run out of strength, come back down, get stuck under that previous resistance, and then watch for the continuation down. That's when I'm looking to short. And the same thing goes for the long. We'll wait for it to go down below support and then get reclaimed and come back on and hold that support. You don't just want to, short or long blindly. You want to trade momentum. And when you're trying to just, I did it for years, just trying to get the exact top and the exact bottom, but then you just end up getting burned over and over again. You don't need to get the exact top or the exact bottom to enter positions positively. You just need to understand which side of the trade you need to be on, wait for the retest, wait for the reclaim, whatever it is, direction you're going, and then you can start to use structure to form your bias and obviously money flow and stuff like that. But yeah, ultimately, I don't quite think we're out of the woods yet. And on a macro time frame, just looking at a lot of these signs, we kind of figured this green line was up here a lot long before it hit it, but that was kind of the target of this breakout, and we got rejected from it, and we got a nice smooth move down. After all this price action here, we just nice smooth move down. So could very well see a V-shaped recovery next week, and I would not be surprised one bit. So I don't know. That's about it. I got today. There's a bunch of other shit going on, Canada trade war and all that stuff, and it's just gonna affect the price negatively when people are panicking over whatever it's gonna be, right? And over and over and over again, people say, "Oh, can you believe the crazy man? What he's doing?" And it's like, you guys, it's all a show. Has nothing to do with what he's doing. The financial system is being reshaped behind closed doors, almost, not really, but just behind a curtain. It's really not that hard to see what's happening, but for whatever reason, people are so fixated on whatever Trump's doing and all the crazy things that he's doing. Oh, can you believe this? Can you believe that? It's like, no, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't care.
Oh my God, dude. You know what? It's almost, it's so annoying because all anybody here wants to talk about is the U.S. And then they're like, well, I don't want to be the 51st state. Like all you do is yap about the U.S., talk about them, talk about their mind your own fucking shit and what's going on in your country. How about first? Like, let's figure this out.
Algorithmic manifestation without even liking it, without even knowing it, worrying, and praying for what you don't want to happen. Right?
It's insane.
And if people understood meditation and manifestation, then they would stop talking about that stuff, because the more attention that you give it, the more likely it is to happen.
Yeah. Oh, and that's how it works. Your life gets in that situation. Yeah. Being in there sucks. Like, nobody, you'd screw that place. Man. Come into the Bitcoin world and then look at it from an outside's perspective and use them.
Yeah, exactly. Your approach, your perspective is what dictates your future. So if you are going to complain about certain things constantly, well, those things are probably going to continue to be problems for you. But if you start to be optimistic and figure out what, start to talk about and manifest what you want to happen, then it'll happen. And that's why I say like, my location, the simulation, right? Like you got to understand what this place is, and you're not going to get there by complaining. You got meditation and stuff, but like, the other thing too is like what I said before months ago, if we can't beat them, join them. Stocks are about to go full crypto hours. So 24-hour trading for the NASDAQ, like this is going to allow people to sell a lot quicker. And that's kind of what, the herd anticipation is that this will allow people to come into the stock market a lot quicker. But reality and past performance likely points to this is going to allow people to exit the stock market a lot quicker, because in the past, when you want to buy from a brokerage in the stock market, they can put those buys in really quickly. They can, if they don't want to, it's up to them. You give them their money, they just kind of hold it in a float and they do the transactions for you. Now, if we go on the blockchain and you can do this yourself, they can't dictate when those orders actually happen, because now you're doing it 24/7, nobody else is in between. So when you want to buy, you buy. When you want to sell, you sell. Right now, you go to your broker, they will say that you've bought and give you a stock value in your wallet, portfolio, whatever. But they can sit on that buy for as long as they want to until it meets their needs. So, for instance, if they're propping up a artificial stock market and people are putting in sell orders, well, all they're going to do is pay those people, but they don't have to put in the sell orders because they have a float that's big enough to carry the stock market to the point where they're ready to sell. And then once there's enough in there, then they can start hitting the sell button. You have to understand that that's how it works. So once the stock market becomes liquid 24/7, they won't be able to prop the price up artificially anymore. And when people want their money, it's going to be instant and they're going to take it and it's going to affect the price. And when you have a lot of people doing that all at once, you have a large scale liquidation event. This is the kind of like, all this is pointing to the same thing. And it's all pointing to the same thing on the same timeline. And it still sounds like end of September, October, November is where we're going to likely bottom out, or there's going to be some sort of capitulation event. It's going to be a massive stock market crash. Bitcoin's probably only going to go down like 15% or 20%, something like that, maybe 25%. But it's going to be, the stock market's going to go down like 50%. And, it's going to be astronomical for a lot of people, but that's going to be the opportunity. That's what we've been waiting for this last year. That's why we had the DCA range, but I wasn't really stressing it. That's why we had these charts that we are been following and paying close attention to, because that's just what makes sense. Now let's see if I go, I'm trying to remember, was it this chart? And I had my prediction written on, I think it was. Let's go back here. Let's go back. Yes, there it is. No, that's not it. It's the VWAP. I got too many charts. Yeah, because there's no draw there. Oh, like, this is the DCA out. Okay, yeah. So this was the. This is the. We put these boxes on here before, right? This whole area was the DCA zone. Like up here, when people are asking me to buy, I said no. Wait till we come back and down to this box here. High volume nodes, lots of reason for us to come back down here, and of course we did. And then we kind of broke out of that range, and I was like, but this is too soon. So DCA out here. We didn't even get that much time to DCA out. And then we were right back in the range again. Now we're right back just under that DCA out range, but still Bitcoin's dead by aggressively. Box has not been tapped yet. Another red flag here for this not being quite the strength that we need is that we have Bitcoin making a high and a lower high, but the RSI making a high and a higher high, which means we have not been this overbought, and yet price has not made this high. So that's a divergence, and that's the kind of thing you look for one way or another, and that's a bearish divergence, by the way. Hidden bearish divergence, they call that. You would like to see this move not be so rapid. The smooth move up, the smooth move down is just indication of unsustainable price action. So we're going to want to pay attention to this. And right here at the 786, just so many things lining up for more move to the downside, continuation of the downtrend. Now, where is that other chart? I thought this is the one I had the prediction on. Maybe it's this one? No. Oh, there it is. Okay, this is the one. Right, so we still have our bottom prediction for October 20th, 2026 with I don't really care about the price too much, but an approximate price of somewhere down here in the 50,000, right? So anything below 50,000 is a freaking deal on Bitcoin because, again, it's the world reserve currency. We know what the future holds for Bitcoin. A lot of people think that with the Bit 110 thing falling apart, that Bitcoin was going to fall apart, and that was literally just 2 weeks ago, and boom.
Yeah.
You know how many people sold that news? They all got wrecked. They all missed out on 20% gains.
That too?
So many people. Yeah, right? Like that was a major thing in the developer atmosphere, because I get it. Like the miners, the node runners and all of them, they're going for decentralization. And what's happening right now is crypto is becoming centralized, just like we were talking about before. But still, what's happening is all the dominoes are falling for decentralization, but Bitcoin still is decentralized and will continue to be so through the network, the miners, the nodes. But I get how the centralization influence is coming in hard with the ETFs and all these other things happening. BlackRock, Fidelity, all these massive hedge funds and institutions getting their hands on it is exactly what we didn't want. And I mean, I was talking about this years ago, that the ETFs are bad for Bitcoin, and people are like, oh, what are you talking about? It's going to be great. It's like, well, all you're paying attention to is price go up. You're not paying attention to true decentralization, people being accountable for their actions, Web3. We heard a lot about Web3 years ago.
That's too much for them, man. They don't want to be responsible for their own actions. That's exactly why everybody, it seems, they want it to be somebody else's problem. They just want to sit back and get rich. Yeah, exactly. And so, what we're seeing now, and wow, look at that friggin' spider line rejection. That's crazy. What we're seeing right now, if you haven't seen the charts before, these spider lines have been on here for years, and that's how we kind of predict future price action. Jesus Christ, did it go right to it? Look at that, eh? Right to the line there. That's been there for ages. But it's like that. Now we're getting to the point where the institutions just want price go up. They don't even care about the technology anymore. It's all about making money. Now, everything in this world is about taking your money. Everything. Every single thing. From food. Bitcoin is it's so much more than that, right? It's not just about money. This isn't about money. It's Bitcoin. It's about freedom basically.
Absolutely.
It's you owning your value, you owning yourself. Yeah.
And not letting somebody else dictate how and what you can do with it. And also getting your time back. being able to actually live a fulfilling life without being burdened by debt. That's what Bitcoin was invented for. That's what Bitcoin, because of the 2008 stock market crash, financial crisis, it was like, okay, so really what's happening now is Bitcoin's coming into really the first time that we've ever really needed it, because we've had all these things happen in the past, and Bitcoin continues to do these cycles, but it hasn't actually been tested for the real reason that it was invented. So really, the next 100 days here is time for Bitcoin to shine and show us, hey, bud, like, you've had 15 plus years here to dig your roots in and, get, well established, but we haven't had a situation like we have now that's equal to and or greater than the 2008 financial crisis. So it's Bitcoin's time to shine. And what it does over the next 6 months is going to be telling for what happens for the next 6 years. But
2030, you'll be paying with XRP or something like that. It'll be a Ripple account, right? You won't have a bank account. You'll have like a Solana account or a Ripple account, or those will be your banks.
The unfortunate thing is I'm just not looking forward to the problem that they create to force that upon the people, because like you said, anybody doing the research isn't interested in a digital dollar, especially a central bank digital dollar. Central banking is whack. I was actually doing some reading on Andrew Jackson lately, and I love what he did to eradicate central banking. And it's so crazy, man, because like central banking has been a problem. It was a problem in the 1600s. It was a problem in the 1700s. It was a problem in the 1800s. And each time there was a group of people that stood together and abolished central bank. But yet here we have again in the 1900s, 1913,
the central bank.
That's right? The weirdest thing too. It's like,
isn't it fucking weird? Isn't it the same families? It's constantly you can trace this back to.
Exactly, it is, and that's another thing too. It's like we're talking about multi-century plans here when average human life is like 80 years. How is that possible, right? It doesn't matter. Like, I get it. Like, yeah, if the families are staying educated, sure, but that's highly unlikely because more often than not, you lose generational wealth within 4 to 5 generations, because whether you're doing your best or not to teach your kids, it's lost in translation. If I'm the one that made it and I teach my kids everything I can, as much as I possibly can, then especially before we had the internet, like now I'm documenting everything, hopefully for it here to stay, so that when I'm long gone, my other people can go back and because it's all going to be timeless. All the information that we're talking about here, if things continue to do the same thing that they have for thousands of years, which they most likely will, it's all going to be timeless, because it doesn't really matter what the price is. It's the approach, it's the psychology behind it, it's the emotion control, the discipline. It's all the same. The price doesn't matter. It's just reflecting today's people, but in today's value, right? In 100 years, it's going to be the same thing, unless we're all robots, but it's gonna, you know what I mean? Like,
again, right? It'll just have a different face.
We've been
the underlining code, the underlining whatever, the algorithm, it's all the same. It's just how it's presented is differently.
Yeah. So this is all meant to be timeless information, and the more you absorb it, the more you'll understand it. But like, what happens with multi-generations of this type of thing is that I tell my kids tell their kids, and they interpret it in their way, and then their kids tell their kids and they interpret it in their way, and the game of telephone follows through to the point where 5 generations from now it's a completely different story. So whether they're trying their best or not, we're talking 5 generations here, that's only 200 years, they lose it. And we're talking about multi-century families through thousands, hundreds of years for sure, if not thousands. Like, you want to go back to the Roman times and stuff like that. You could even argue that this has been happening for thousands of years. We have it documented for hundreds of years, so let's just go off that to be safe. But like, you're still talking about certain groups of people and or entities following through with hundreds, multi-century plans.
Yeah.
When that is very,
every person who has ever tried to get rid of banking or put the wealth in the common people's hand and said it's a collective, they get killed or they disappear.
Yeah.
Like they don't last.
It's very, very unlikely for what to happen with central banking, for it to continue to happen. It just really doesn't make any sense, other than they are entities of some kind that live longer than we do, which I am not opposed to believing the possibility that there is entities from other star systems that have come here to help shape or dominate or whatever. Who knows what their agenda is? But ultimately, especially when you start to watch this stuff being charted and you see these same patterns over and over and over again, and you're just like, okay, like it's either a simulation.
Humanity is literally the same, just in different years.
Yeah, it's either a simulation. Exactly, right? The decades, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all completely different from each other, but all specifically
all the same,
the decade,
the same problems, just presented differently.
Yeah,
or it's a different
right?
group of people.
Like it's a show, Planet Earth.
Rockers, they're dealing with hippies,
right? It's like exactly. So it's just very, very suspicious, or sus, as the kids would say these days, to just believe that we're just floating on a rock with no guidance or,
right.
You know what I mean, or outside influence whatsoever. Whether it's the source, who's sourcing the simulation, or it's a combination of many things. It could be the entities could be multi-star systems, like multiple different star systems, all in the simulation. Like, Planet Earth, that's what a lot of people have a hard time grasping. It's like Planet Earth is a grain of sand in the universe, right? A grain of sand.
It's nothing.
So you have to be able to wrap your mind around the fact that there could be influence from all over the place. We are so small.
You don't even know what's on your own planet.
We are
if
so
you
small.
actually go on Google Earth and you just rotate around that thing, look at the forest, look at the oceans.
Yeah.
You've explored maybe like a 50-kilometer radius your entire life. You don't know the world or what's out there.
Exactly. And the world itself is a grain of sand in the desert. And so you just have to be able to understand that it's very likely not what they say it is. And there's a chance that there's many other things going on that most people couldn't even fathom if they were even told that it's real. They would be like,
look at the underground cities, man. Do you think people today could build those?
Oh yeah.
How the hell did they do it back then?
You get into the cathedrals and stuff like that, and you're like, absolute perfect symmetry. And like,
beautiful, right?
And
then
things
you look at the craftsmanship today. Okay, where did we go?
Yeah, everything, they just try and make everything square and white, and they can't even get things to be square. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy, and nothing is symmetrical whatsoever. Like, it's brutal. Like, people's door hinges are freaking, the cupboard doors. It's just like everything's fucked.
Yeah, I'm going through my place right now, doing a few because I'm in a rental, and thank God I've fixed it up. It's a damn nice rental now.
A lot of things you can just do with a screwdriver, it's just like,
exactly. Screwdriver, putty, some paint, and maybe $100 into some things, and holy crap, does the place look different.
Makes a huge difference. Well, we're going over an hour. Are you in for some GT or what?
Yeah, let's get some GT going. Gotta get moving. So
I think we've rambled enough here, but folks, just pay attention because things are about to get really interesting. If you haven't noticed already, look at those big green candles. Last week was booming for Bitcoin. Last week we saw let's get a detailed precision measurement here with the measuring tool, the ruler. We went up,
I think it was like 20% or something.
26.86% at the high, and currently sitting at 23.5% up from last week's price action. So man,
this is where you start seeing, Bitcoin's down 15%. Everybody freak out.
Yeah,
Bitcoin, it's still up 10. Yeah, if you consider.
It's true. That's true. And as far as retracement goes, very likely 73,000 is a nice support. Could come back down there. We also have 70,000, nice support down there, and then 69, and then guess what? 67K. That POC still looks, and especially if we get caught under this value area high. If we hold this value area high this week and we don't see a lot of price action because the bulls and the bears are like really fighting, that's going to be bullish. But what I am kind of expecting to happen is that the bulls did this, but the bulls are probably going to run out of steam because last time we were at these prices, it was followed by detrimental downward price action, right?
This time it's just not going to be as bad as what I think. We'll be stuck in the 70s kind of for a trading range, maybe low 70s.
Yeah, we don't know. We only go with probability, and just right now it's kind of looking okay, but it's the weekend. It's hard to tell. Monday, Tuesday will give us a little bit more insight into what we can expect.
We'll have an answer.
Yeah, and by Wednesday we'll have an answer. Yeah, seems that way anyways. But all right, folks, with that being said, I wish you well. AK, I'll see you shortly. Peace, brother. Everybody out there, make sure you like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Thanks to the new subscribers. Looks like we got 3 new subscribers today. So shout out to you guys. And do all the things that you need to do. Get outside, touch grass, ground yourself, meditate, understand frequency, understand energy, and touch trees. Take your shoes off, put your feet in the dirt, and become one with the reality that you live in. Understand it, and you won't ever be upset once you understand how it all works and how you are a part of it. It's just like all the worries just kind of fade away, because it's just an amazing and beautiful place to be. And your perspective is everything, dictates your reality. So make sure you stay optimistic and keep that smile on your face, folks. All right, I wish you well. I wish you wealth. Peace out. Marty B out. Oh. Make sure you come back for golden tea here in about 20 minutes. Do some golden tea. I recommend putting your opinions aside and learning how to think logically